Okay, we're live. Okay, I'm just testing this out actually. Strangely enough, every time where I've wanted to do this, I've had lots to say. And just as usual, the moment that I finally got to figure it all out and have a time and place to do it, I don't have anything to say. So, really, all I can say for the moment, beautiful day here in Napier. Um, Supposed to be up to 18 degrees, sunny, a little bit of a cool wind. Um, I have been sending off a lot of OIA's Official Information Act requests over the weekend, including a whole series to try and isolate where the decisions were made of gold and the um, permissions and so forth for gold. Now, to refresh for those who aren't familiar with that, New Zealand Reserve Bank holds no gold. They have admitted this, and they have done no assessment of the need for for holding gold, despite there being 80% of the banks in the world accumulating gold flat out, including Poland that accumulated 70 tons of gold in June alone. And I could go on a whole list of countries like that doing that. And the price of gold and silver is supposed to be spiking pretty soon. They're going to rocket up. So it would be a smart move. While the US dollar, which we do intrinsically hold our New Zealand dollar to, is going to crash. And so it makes you wonder. Reserve Bank do hold other currencies. They have been buying other currencies around the world, but they're all going to crash too. So there you go. Um, who and why and where and what decisions, what logic on that whole area is something I'd like to find out, but nobody's talking. I got a reply this morning, which you may have seen. I posted it on the from the Ministry of Justice, declaring that they have no, through the coroner's office, have no data collection method for collecting information on suicides from medication. New Zealand Health have already admitted this, that they don't. And so effectively, while they're handing out black box warning type medications, which actually say may cause suicide or may cause aggressive thoughts, uh, they um, they do not record in any way how many people have died from taking the drugs that they're handing out that may cause suicide. And I find that highly irrational. And and then looking a bit further, I find it very convenient that the government that's so tightly embracing big pharma, Pfizer, Johnson and Johnson, you name it, all of those big companies that are making billions of dollars, and of which New Zealand is a major profit gravy train, really, for big pharma, and yet they don't record uh, any suicides on their medications. So obviously they don't want to. And I recently, going over some of the past Official Information Act requests, I have exposed no informed consent in New Zealand, even though they say there is, but it's just a code. And what happens is if you complain that there wasn't any, you weren't informed about something, you can complain. You can take it up to the ombudsman's office. They will delay it. If you actually get through to the ombudsman, they can say, "Well, sorry guys, but we don't really hold much merit in your complaint. You're being a bit emotional about it, so we're not going to take it any further than that." And that's what's been happening. This is, maybe something that doesn't bother a lot of people, but for the people it does bother, it's a life and death matter. And when you have that kind of precedent, when you have people making those kind of decisions and or making those kind of things possible, running your health system, you should be worried because they will be making similar decisions, similar errors, and so forth across in many, many parts of um, of the system. Yeah. So that's a goal. That's informed consent. That's that area. Nutrition. I have exposed that nutrition. That there is no new nutritional protocol for people on medications and uh, coming off medications. There's no national nutritional protocol. No real discussions. They basically want to shut down the conversation on that. Um, and yet those drugs that they administer, that they prescribe and so forth, deplete the body of nutritional elements, minerals, vitamins, and they have no informed consent, so they don't need to tell you about this. They don't need to supply them. And this is a large part of it. If they were to supply the vitamins, if they were forced to supply the vitamins, that would endanger the drug companies. So again, it goes back to Big Pharma. Uh, because once those vitamins are approved for funding and so forth, then they can potentially uh, overtake, and people can start saying, "Well, actually, the vitamins are helping me; the drugs are not," and it endangers the drug companies. There we go. That's another little uh, aspect that we've been digging into. Roadside drug testing, that's ongoing. It's all over the country now, and the legislation is carefully um, backdoored around the Bill of Rights. Um, Bill of Rights. I'm actually doing a bit of planning on that. I plan to release a comic that actually provides the Bill of Rights for every New Zealander, and it should be widely available. Hopefully, that'll be able to be arranged. Which brings me to prisons, prison system. Prison system, 43% of prisoners are being held indefinitely, which is actually, again, a violation of point 23 of Bill of Rights Act, which uh, includes in it that prisoners should have a right to swift justice, and they're not getting that. They are being held sometimes for months, sometimes for longer, and with no definite date set for a trial to prove or otherwise prove not that they are guilty or innocent. And so what that means is that nearly half of New Zealand prisoners are e- essentially being tortured because to be held indefinite is definite detention. That's a form of torture. So yeah, nearly half the prison population are in torture conditions. And again, you might say, well, if you don't break the law, you won't have a problem. But a lot of these people may not have broken a law, uh, or they may have been, you know, how do you say, unfairly prosecuted. Let's say. Now, going back to that, the uh, to bring up another point that I have exposed, that police have admitted they have no moral or ethical principles in all of their training materials and all of their documents, nothing. And not even in their code of conduct could they find one moral principle, although they said that there were ethical principles in the code of conduct, but they can't find them. Does that sound a little bit odd? It does to me. So what we have, what do the police do then? Well, they follow legislation. They enforce legislation. So that what happens is a law is made by politicians that you may or may not do something. It could be, I don't know, uh, what could it be? For example, something ridiculous like um, everyone must tie their shoelaces. And if you are found with your shoelaces undone, you may be prosecuted and imprisoned for 3 months. Let's just say that. Okay. So the person is arrested for having their shoelaces. Or let's go back a little bit. So this is pushed through Parliament, right? And let's say that all the parliamentarians on both sides of the all sides of the political spectrum agree, right? That it's a good move that they should prosecute people who have untied shoelaces. And so it passes through law and there's a law made. Right now, police are given the duty of enforcing that law. So if they see somebody with their shoelaces undone, they must arrest them. They feel they should. They feel that they are following the law, and clearly they are. And so obviously it must be good. And this is the extent of their moral and ethical framework. Uh, Now, if the policeman sees a hot lady chick on his beat, he might start beating the wrong thing, but he he would be fully entitled, according to his no morals or ethical principles, to do all kinds of bad things under that circumstance. And this is what we're finding is that the police have been corrupted as well because they essentially are above the law, or they believe they are. They believe that they have no moral or ethical principles. That's what they're trained, so that's what they perform. So going back to the shoelace incident, the guy is arrested. He is in court, and he gets taken to court. And let's say he's a your average New Zealander, and he's in court, and he's going, "This is frickin' ridiculous! You know, you're all fucked up." And so the judge takes that as, uh, what do you call it? Oh God, the like against the court rules. Let's say I can't think of the word. You can think of it. And so he says, "You better watch yourself, young man. You've given a warning there. If you do one more thing like that, we are going to remove you from the courtroom and carry on the judgment without you," something like that. Anyway, he goes through and he is found guilty of having his shoelaces untied. He is put in prison for a later hearing. This is a preliminary hearing, let's say. He's put in jail and he's put in indefinite detention. Now, while he's there, he is unable to access any means of rehabilitation because he hasn't been sentenced yet. So now the door's closed on that as well. So he can't try to be good. He can't try to improve himself. He can't try to make an effort to be a better shoelace tire. He's just simply locked up. And now he has lost his employment. He has lost his friends. They all think that he's a criminal now. So he's kind of like screwed there. And and so that's the situation we're in at the moment, right? Was he bad? Did he do anything morally unacceptable? Did he break any sort of ethical frameworks or anything? Well, no, he didn't. He broke a law that was passed by politicians that was not required to have any ethical or moral principles in it. Why not? Because that's not how they make laws. They make laws that are made for making money, for convenience, for cracking down on unwanted elements in society that who consider as unwanted, that the politicians consider is unwanted. So what you've got is an entire legal system, all of the laws, all of the governance of New Zealand is based not on moral or ethical principles. Now, hey, if you're a law breaker, you may be not worried about that. You may say, oh, well, I don't care, Well, you will, if you're ever in that situation. Now, the roadside drug testing is putting people in that situation by force because even if you have or haven't had any medication, if you refuse the roadside drug test, then you can be fined. You can lose your demerit points, 75 demerit points. And the next time you are pulled over or for speeding or whatever, right, then, you lose your license. If you drive with your license, then you can have your license removed. And after that, you drive without your license and you're pulled over, you could be imprisoned. So it's all circular, and it's just a matter of time as to whether you get caught or so on. Now, okay, you might say, well, I won't speed, right? Okay, but that doesn't preclude you from being pulled over for a drug test, and it doesn't preclude you from a lot of other things either. So, and apart from that, not having your license, then your employment is screwed anyway. Right. So I think we pretty much got the point. Um, I'm working on trying to change all of this with the Official Information Act request and so forth, and also increasing awareness. The more people can be made aware of this and say it's not acceptable, then the sooner we can actually make change. And I'm getting a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, there's nothing you can do about it. It's all, pretty much hopeless," or, or worse, they're saying, "Well, I think we need to have a war. We need to take over the government, have civil." And now suddenly the police are watching my video too because I mentioned those. Hi guys. Um, So yeah, but they've been following my posts anyway. I wish they'd actually follow them with a bit more attention, and maybe they'd learn that what they're doing is wrong, and so um, you know they might actually push themselves for change. Um, what else? So yeah, that's what I'm working on, and on the apathy side of things, every time you communicate, communication is a very powerful tool, and every time you communicate, you make a difference. Don't ever believe that just because nothing happens, just because somebody says, no, I'm not listening to you, that they don't walk away with a new thought in their head. See, the thought that you gave them. Um, just think about in your past of times where you've said something to somebody and they didn't listen or something, but suddenly you found that they were actually doing what you'd asked them to do in the first place. So when people disagree with you, it's not always the end. and you'd be surprised how much people do notice. And like I say, so when you speak out, when you do your Official Information Act request, if you're even up to that, or if you send out letters, template letters, to your politician or whatever, sign a petition or whatever, and you think, it's not working. No, it's working. It's absolutely working, right? The only question is, whether you at that moment in time give up because you think it's not working, or you go, shit, nothing much has happened yet. We're going to do a shitload more, you know, and that's where we're at. We have to do a lot more, and we have to keep pushing. And I know that I'm getting results. I know we have gotten results, and it's not just me; it's other people that have been putting the pressure there too. Because the Justice Minister came out last week and said we need to do an urgent review of the justice system. Now, do I think that he will do an urgent review that will make any difference? Probably not. Right? It'll take a lot more than just one push at this. I mean, we've seen a whole royal inquiry into the mental health abuses and so forth, and has it made a shitload of difference? Well, it's made some differences. Did everyone get paid out? Well, I think they got something, but so, change takes a lot of work, and you just have to roll your sleeve up and be ready to do that work. But one consideration about this is, if you don't think about the consequences of that for your children, for future generations, for yourself even, right? Um, is that if we don't do something, if we just sit back, then I've got some sparrows over here. This is kind of cool. Hi guys, nice to see you. I think you're a bit hungry. But if you don't do something, then we face a not a very nice future, really, and it's kind of like a bit of Russian roulette on on how things turn out. Whereas if you are actually positive, you take some actions, you communicate, you make the effort, right? At least you can live with yourself, going, well, I did what I could. I did as much as I could, and maybe it wasn't quite enough, but I really put my best into it, and that is putting the self-respect back in, and you can at least feel better, and have be able to walk tall, if you like, and carry on without cowering down that you went along with it all and so forth. Well, I'm sorry, educate to kind of like, I don't know. I'm just saying what you can take this or leave this, but I I just think that there is a need to make these things aware. People don't realise, So I'm saying it. You don't have to listen. You can turn this off when you want to. I see there's 3 people who, which is cool. This was just a spontaneous thing. And usually my lives tend to be quite spontaneous because I don't know. Just the way it is anyway. I'm going to keep on going and keep on working on getting the Official Information Act things going, and I will certainly be posting more of what the outcomes, and I will certainly be doing more open letters to Luxon if I have to, whatever it takes. I'm hoping to do that Bill of Rights comic. I am also wanting to do a book on my research methods, which I'd love to do, but I am too busy doing it, too busy doing the work. And eventually, I also would love to do some more meetings where I can actually talk live, and that might come in the foreseeable future too. Okay, well, I guess it's really my trial live. Theoretically, the Substack should automatically post this to my YouTube channel, Imagination, Imaginzation, with the Z in the middle there. It's Imagination with Z in the middle, so that we have New Zealand in the middle of Imagination. Imagination being one of the most important abilities that a person has, because without imagination you can't solve problems. Have a great day, and I will see you online somewhere. I've got to figure out how to turn this thing off. This is my first live. Oh, somebody's put a courageous is contagious. Thank you. Yeah, totally. Thanks, Craig. Um, yeah, so we'll get this posted up and I've got to figure out how to turn this bloody thing off now. So, how do I do that? Oh my gosh. What do I do? Tap the screen? No, that's not going to do it. I see. I haven't done this before. If I go to, maybe I just go back. Anyway, I'll catch. I'll finally figure out how to turn this off. So, oh man, that's not doing it. They didn't it? What? Oh, there we go. How about that?